The setting of the story is Daniel's bus stop for his first day of school, and there he is confronted by his neighbor Gabe, who is a teenage delinquent that doesn't really like Daniel much. Though attempting to, though, like Gabe's a douche. Gabe is a douche. He is not a good person. He is a white, trashy, very bad person. Not many people would like him other than white trash. So, through attempting to provoke him, Daniel just brushes off Gabe's verbal assaults and ignores him completely by smugly sitting down on the curb and pulling out a book to read. And Gabe does not like to be ignored. So when he does this, we find out that Gabe's a brat, pretty much. No fight breaks out at that moment because the bus comes by and sort of saves the day. But this does a couple things. One, it prevents a physical conflict at that point in time, but it also does another thing. It doesn't do something. It does not prevent a definite dislike to develop between the two teams. Daniel just simply doesn't care for Gabe, and Gabe just hates his guts. He hates Daniel so much. So speaking of conflicts and bow-baddiness, in the story there are many conflicts. For the first part of the story, it's sort of Daniel versus the world. So he has to confront that for the first 3 chapters of the book. And when I say Daniel versus the world, I mean, he's the new kid at school. He has no friends, and it's just him against everyone because, it's the new kid. It's tough at school. You don't have anyone to rely on, no support. And second chapter in the book, I think. Second chapter in the book, he's out training, practicing his dragon's vengeance, and he's approached by 4 jocks, and sort of they provoke him into a fight, and he totally kicks their asses. And due to this, he's suspended for 2 weeks because he sort of broke a couple collarbones and noses and arms and stuff. So the world's not liking Daniel very much because he's fighting the system. That's one conflict. Another conflict is after Daniel is exposed to magic, he develops an inner conflict with himself because he struggles with the reality of the world of magic that surrounds him. And he doesn't resolve this internal strife until later in the story. Basically, he just has trouble believing that everything around him can't be magic, that he's not as important as everyone makes him out to be. It's just he's being dumped on with a bunch of responsibility, and he's having trouble taking it. In addition to this, Daniel also struggles with his sense of betrayal with his parents. And he's got abandonment issues because his parents shipped him off halfway across the country to live with his parents because throughout his childhood, a lot of freaky stuff happened around Daniel. Fires happened frequently. Bad storms happened. Animals were always coming to him. Anything from stray dogs to raccoons and deer and stuff. And plants would grow abnormally large. These were acts of his dormant magic sort of acting out in subtle ways. His nature magic, which he has an affinity for, attracts animals and gives plants crazy growth. His fire magic sort of set off fires, I guess. And his wind magic, set off storms and stuff. But that one was more camouflage since they're living on the coasts. There's going to be more tsunamis and wind storms and bow-baddie stuff. So his parents caught on to this and they just said, we have enough. We're not doing this anymore. You go away. So they pushed him away, sent himself with his grandparents, and he felt pretty bad about that. I mean, who wouldn't? Also, he is haunted by the death of his best friend Charlie. And Charlie, they grew up together. They camped out on regular bases on the beaches of California, surfing all day, camping out, roasting marshmallows, surviving on the sandy shores, and they were just as close to bros as you could get without being bros. And Charlie, he died the year before in a bad car crash, and the two had grown up together, and it hit Daniel really hard when he lost his best friend. And when Charlie died, Daniel got a full sleeve dragon tattoo on his right arm to remind him of Charlie, to commemorate him, a timestamp on his life. And I think the dragon tattoo, which I think about in my head, is really cool. When this book comes out into a movie, I hope that the character and the artists give him a great tattoo, because that would be awesome. The way I see the tattoo is a black Asian-style dragon coiling around his whole arm. Wah, 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 wah. And he has yin-yang eyes, and he's all growling. The head ends right here. This is like the head area. So, yin-yang eyes, yin-yang eyes. And on the right foot, there is a broken index toe and a lot of scarring on the foot. This was suggested to him by the tattoo artist, and this is very symbolic later on, and it has something to do with his wind magic. You can only find out what it is if you read the book. So yeah. So finally, Daniel developed... I thought I heard knocking. Finally, Daniel develops another self versus the world conflict, except it is between him and the magical world, in addition to everything else. He learns of his extraordinary heritage and his magical potential, and how much anyone would want to have him either killed or used as a weapon. Even the people at the guild are looking at him like a piece of meat, hoping to turn Daniel into a magical nuke, sort of. And the bad guys, they want to either kill him or convert him into a mindless zombie that they can use. So, yeah, he really has no support other than his friends, and there's only two main ones. So yeah, Daniel's a pretty lonely person right now. And I would recommend this book to anyone that enjoys magic, mystical beings, legends, or action. And I wrote this story hoping to combine these very features, because I read a lot, and I expose myself to a lot of genres. And there are certain traits in every book that I like, and I wrote this story so that I could bring out my world that's in my head, and I wanted to bring it out and combine all the things I liked about each story that I've read. Because dragons, I've loved them since before I could write my own name. Martial arts, I've been doing martial arts since I was 8, and action's awesome, kick-ass, adventure, always cool, and I've sort of liked romance. I mean, I read Twilight. Not every guy can say that with a proud face. I read Twilight. Yeah. And I read all 4 books, too. Boom. So, I'd say that, actually, this book is similar to several. The Christopher Paolini Inheritance Cycle series, I think that's similar to that. I'm not going to tell you how, because, well, if I tell you how, then you're not going to be curious. So I'm going to leave you off with that cliffhanger. I think it's very similar to the Secrets of Nicholas Flamel series. It is similar to some of Cinda Williams Chima's books, like the Air Chronicles and the Seven Realms series. And, I guess you could say it's similar to the City of Bones series, but I didn't think about that when I was writing it. And, so, yeah. If you like any of those books, I'd recommend this book. And once I publish this book, I hope that you guys enjoy it, and you can check out more details at this website, http://alankroll.wix.com/legends of a contractor. No capitalization, no spaces. I'll even put a link to it under the video. Bye!